And it's unfortunate too that a lot of bands don't get down to, because you're in India, right?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Yeah, I went down there a few years ago with some friends. Sorry,
Uh-huh.
I was at just so you know, I was actually I filmed or recorded my audiobook for I got a new book coming out, and I took a couple of days off, and I'm hanging out at a motorhome park. This is my motorhome here.
Oh, fabulous. It's a
Yeah,
beautiful day.
so yeah, it's gorgeous here in Nashville. So but anyway, I was in India, I think in 2010 or 12, and
Uh-huh.
God, I had a great time down there. It was awesome.
Which parts do you come to?
Um I think we played in Nagaland.
Oh, nice. Yeah, yeah.
So I think we were on the eastern side.
Yeah, the northeastern part of India. Yes.
Yes. So it was a great time. It was and I couldn't believe it. We just put a thing together of it was Troy Patrick Farrell, myself, Eric Dover from the band Jellyfish and Slash Snake Pit, and we just went down and did covers. But there was like 20,000 people at both shows. It was crazy. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's it's really unfortunate with COVID and stuff like that. What's it been like for you the last 1.5 years, John? How has COVID affected you personally and professionally?
Well, to be honest with you, it really kind of made me rethink. Um, I think music industry has changed so much. Um, a lot of bands aren't selling the records that they used to sell. And so when the COVID thing hit, I was like, oh man, like a huge percentage of my income comes from touring. And, that got shut down. So I did a little bit of, you know, soul searching, and I realized like, okay, I need to learn how to use Pro Tools so
Hmm.
that I can continue moving forward and record myself. And then I wrote the book. So I was kind of productive, you know what I mean? But just not doing any live shows.
Hmm.
So the last 18 months has been scary um, because I'm still not fully back to work yet. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
Financially, it's been a little scary, but at least I was productive and I recorded some music. I did a book, and and it made me think about how I can be a little more independent. Um, Obviously, when the COVID thing hit, like I said, everything shut down. But I was even at that point, I had already started recording in a recording studio with Marty Fredrickson,
Hmm.
and even that got shut down because we couldn't be in the room at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it just really made me rethink everything and figure out how to be more independent, self-reliant.
But it's nice that you've managed to stay positive, through this time. Coming to the new single "Cosi Bella," really nice, positive, uplifting song. How did that come about? I know it's a collaboration with Marty Fredrickson, who also worked with the Dead Daisies, right? He produced one
Yes,
of the Daisies albums.
he actually did. He actually did. Um, he did our "Make Some Noise" record. He did the "Burn It Down" record, and he actually helped us out with our uh, "Live and Louder" album. Like it was like a live album.
Hmm.
But the song actually came about from the "Burn It Down" sessions. Marty and I had gotten together prior to the whole band getting together, and I just kind of wanted to get a little bit of a jump on the writing process. Um, so Marty and I sat down and I showed him the idea, and then him and I developed it, and we
Hmm.
had like I call it a map, but it was like a framework for the song. Um, I played it for the Dead Daisies, and they didn't quite. It wasn't in their wheelhouse. It wasn't in their parameters. So I just put it to bed for a little while. I left the band in 2019, and then I was just super busy just doing shows the whole year. 2020 came around, and that's when I talked to Marty and said, I'd really like to do a solo record. Will you help me? And he said yes. And so we recorded a couple of things, and then COVID. And then so once I learned how to use the Pro Tools thing, I just actually sat down and started putting Cosi Bella together. And it was really just to show Marty what I was hearing in my head.
Yeah.
I got it to a certain point, and then he understood what I was trying to do. And then he just took it and finished it, like kind of, you know, he sprinkled his fairy dust on it to make it sound like I knew what I was doing.
Yeah. So somebody like a Marty plays, does someone like Marty play a big role in shaping your sound and understanding your vision as well? Is that for him to understand your vision? I guess that is important. But shaping your sound, is it, does Marty play a role in that?
Yeah. I mean, I think any good producer would. You know, when I first started working on the song, I was really sitting there going, I'm kind of hearing the song be a little more like, you know, I just basically gave him an example. I said, well, you know, I know it's not really something that I've done in the past, but I'm really kind of hearing this song be something in the lines of Penny Lane by the Beatles or Killer Queen by Queen.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, okay, cool. Well, then I sat down and I recorded it. I put some piano. It took me forever, but I put the song together, and then Marty redid the bass. His son redid the drums because I was doing everything on drum machine. And then he added horns, and then he made it sound polished. But he understood what I was saying when I said Penny Lane and Killer Queen.
Yeah. But what's the response been like to the song, John? I mean, you get all this data now from these streaming platforms, right? So have you had like a huge response from, you know, say Asia or South America and things like that? Do you keep track of that?
The Spotify thing is all new to me. You know what I mean? Now I have a PR firm that's actually helping me get my music out there, and they're very pleased with the reaction that I'm getting through the streaming sites. The thing that's weird is is it going to translate to the sites where they actually download the song? Like, you know, and I'm sure you know, like the and I'm just being honest, you know, obviously the royalty rates for the streaming sites are much less than the actual download sites. So, you know, the verdict is out. I do know that it's doing really well. I think it's been out maybe 2 weeks, two weeks and a couple of days, and everybody's pleased. You know, I don't really know how to judge it because, you know, I'm a bit old school. The old days, you would get a weekly report, and it's like, okay, you guys sold 30,000 records this week.
Yeah.
So you have you know what I mean? The streaming thing, I don't get it. You know, so right now I think on Spotify I'm on 300 or 400 playlists, which is great. It's not Justin Timberlake numbers, but it is what it is. You know, this is like Star Trek to me. It's it's a new horizon. Who knows what's happening? So
yeah, I can imagine. But do you have more singles in the pipeline, John? Or are you going to just put out an album, or are you going to keep putting out singles?
Well, you know, I would love to eventually put out vinyl and put out a CD. To be honest with you, that's what I was doing. And Marty was the one that was like, he was kind of the catalyst for this whole thing. And he said, why are you doing a record? And the way he explained it to me, it made sense. He's like, nobody's really selling any records. When you look at bands like, you know, even Kiss, Aerosmith, he goes, dude, they're not even recording anymore. There's no point in it. He goes, it's about streaming, and it's about YouTube, and, you know, it's social media. So then I realized, I looked at maybe the last 8 or 10 years. I've done a couple of solo records, even the Dead Daisy stuff. A majority of the records that we sold were either sold on our personal websites, Amazon, or at the shows.
Yeah.
So all these big chain stores like Tower Records and Virgin Records, and, you know, in America there was, you know, Best Buy, Walmart, Kmart, whatever, but they don't sell records anymore. They just, if they do sell records, they only sell the top 20 on Billboard. So Marty was like, you know, it was harsh. It was harsh to hear, but he even said, he goes, dude, a guy like you, you're never going to get on the radio. Your MTV doesn't exist anymore. And he goes, you know, unless you get a song that skyrockets an album into the top 20 on Billboard charts, like, you're not even going to get in Kmart and Walmart. So do it this way. So I'm trying it. I've got quite a few more songs in the pipeline. What I'd like to do is, and this is kind of, again, Marty's suggestion. He said, put a song out, do a video, put it on YouTube, all your social media things, upload it to all the streaming sites. And he goes, talk about your music for a month or two, then release another single, another video, and do that maybe every 2 months. Once you get 3, 4, 5 songs together, then you drop an album and, you know, CD, vinyl, whatever you're going to do. But again, like I said, this is all new to me. You know, I got into the music business, you know, 30, 35 years ago. So I'm just like, computers, what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, these are, you know, interesting times, because it's all about, you know, getting placement on a playlist and, you know, catering to these algorithms. Does that influence songwriting also, John? For example, if you find that people want to listen to songs that are only 3 minutes or 3.5 minutes, does that kind of influence songwriting, that, you know, what you get off these platforms?
I don't worry about it. I used to. There was a point where I was sitting there thinking I had to reinvent myself. And I tried doing all this stuff with like loops and, you know, like all the stuff that was happening at the time. And then I had a friend of mine that just kind of smacked me back into reality verbally. And he just said, John, you are what you are. Like, there's people out there that like what you do. So stop overthinking it. Just do a record and just build. And that's what I've been doing. You know, it's, you know, I got a little crazy for a minute, and I started thinking about things like, you know, why don't I have, why am I not a household name, or why do I not have Steven Tyler's bank account or Nikki Sixx's bank account? But you know, but at the end of the day, man, it's like, it's just about being happy. It's just about being creative. And if I was really worried about the algorithms and what's popular, my music would sound like either country music, rap, or Justin Timberlake. So I'm just doing what I do, man. I'm not thinking about it. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. And I'm hoping that maybe one of these songs connects with everybody. and I established myself as a legitimate songwriter, singer,
Yep.
guitarist, but there's, you know, I say life is as it should be. The world is what it is. I just keep doing what I do, and hopefully one of these days something will click for me.
Yeah, absolutely. But tell me, John, how much do you have to go back into the past to move forward, in a sense? What I'm asking is, have you spent the time revisiting old stuff that you have written, stuff that you have recorded but forgotten about, and trying to, kind of put all that out now and reimagine it for the current scenario and put it out?
Well, it's funny because when I was in the Daisies, we didn't actually, for the most part, nobody really came to the band with a finished tune. So I just had, like, even right now on my phone, I probably have 50 or 60 just guitar riffs, or maybe a little chord progression that I'm scatting a melody over. And then I go, oh, that's really cool. I'll take a look at that later. And I just file it.
Mm-hmm.
So Cosi Bella was similar. It was Marty and I on an acoustic guitar, kind of scatting the melody that you hear today, but it was no lyrics. I was just, and we did the thing. And then I'll go back and I'll listen to all the ideas I have. And whatever one clicks with me that moment, then I'll work on it and finish it. But now there's a couple things, today, when I get home today, I'm leaving this little campground and I'm going home. I have 2 brand new ideas that aren't on my phone that I want to go in and get my son to play the drums on them for me and then finish them. I have lyrics and everything. I want to sing them, get them out. And one of the songs I'd actually like to put out next. So it's kind of jumping, it's jumping the line, if you will. Because I think it's a little more, I don't want to say heavy. Like, when I say heavy, I don't mean like heavy. I'm talking like Led Zeppelin heavy. Mm-hmm. And there's just something about it that I love the riff. I love the song. I got really cool lyrics for it. So I just want to get in, finish it up, and shoot a quick video for it and put it out next.
Mm-hmm. Tell me, John, do you like to experiment a lot with sound and with instruments? I've heard you talk about the Beatles being one of your influences, right? And I think the Beatles were never scared to experiment.
And
right?
That's what I love about doing this now, the way that I'm doing it. I've had a few people ask me about the song Cosi Bella. They're like, well, why did you do this song? Or, sorry, I'm putting a chair together while I talk to you. So, they asked me about the song, and the beauty of it is that there's no parameters. So that's what I wanted with Marty. Like I said, it's really weird. Like, the era of music that I grew up with was really from like 65 or 66, when the Beatles did Revolver, up until about 1980 or 81. That 10 or 15 years of music, I feel, and this is just my opinion, but I feel was the most creative, just eclectic time music. And even as a kid, like, I tell these guys, I go, man, it's so crazy. Like, every type of music now has it's got a box.
Exactly.
Okay, this is grunge rock. This is, metal rock. This is metal. This is pop rock. And I'm like, man, like, I just remember as a kid, I would buy concert tickets and I would go see Black Sabbath on Monday. And then I would go see somebody like Cat Stevens on Wednesday. And then I would go see a band like Yes or King Crimson on Friday. So there wasn't all these labels. So when I started doing this record, I told Marty, I said, man, you know what? There's no rhyme or reason to anything anymore. You're right. Nobody's selling any records.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever records I sell, I'm going to do through my website and at my shows. So let's just be musical.
Yeah.
Let's just whatever. If the song requires a little triangle or a tabla or whatever, put it on there.
Yeah.
Like, who cares?
Yeah.
And no, I'm sorry. Marty was all about it. He's like, yes, let's just really dive in and do something old school. You know what I mean? Like creatively.
Yeah. You know what I find interesting, John, listening to music and especially looking at the music scene here in India, I think in the last 10 years, thanks to streaming and piracy and all of that, I think listeners have become less fussy. People have become more open. Tastes have become more expansive. I think that will make it easier for people to be more accepting. I feel of bands trying a different sound or going in a different direction.
Well, but I think it's funny. I'm kind of overall, for the most part, I would say that probably 90% of the people that have heard Cosi Bella, they go, wow, this is not what I expected from you, but I like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there's 10% that are like, oh, this doesn't sound anything like the Motley record, or this doesn't sound anything like you, or they always go back to one of my old bands.
Yeah.
And whatever favorite old band of mine they're into, and they compare it. Like, this doesn't sound anything. I don't like it. I'll wait for the next. Mm-hmm. Well, that's also why I'm doing it this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
My wife is a prime example. Got an iPhone. We all have a computer in our back pocket now.
Yeah.
So she's a huge Iron Maiden, Scorpions. She runs the gamut, and she'll see on her newsfeed, oh, Iron Maiden's got a new song out. She goes on to iTunes or whatever, and she listens to those little 30-second
absolutely
examples, and she goes, oh, that one sounds cool, I'll download that one. And no, oh wait, I like that one, and then download that. She doesn't download the whole record.
Yeah.
So I think it's weird. It's moving forward, but in a lot of ways, it's like the old school when Elvis Presley was doing things. They didn't do albums. They did, and they promoted it, and they went on the road and they promoted that single. Then they did another one. Then they did another one. And then after 4, 5, 6, or 7 of them, they put them all together on one album.
Yeah.
So even though it's moving forward, it's still a little old school.
Yeah, because I always wonder, right? I'm old school like that. So Iron Maiden put out a new album, and I listened to the whole album multiple times. And there's a certain, I think that comes out of loyalty for the band, and that comes out of having loved that music for so many years. So I'm not sure, is it just, do people only listen to singles? Is it just the 30 seconds, like your wife listens to 30 seconds of it and then decides whether she's going to download it or not? Will that eventually start influencing songwriting? Because people will, I'd want somebody to download my song, right?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I would love to go onto my Facebook page and have 6 million followers. And if I sat here, I could, I'm sure I could gain, especially here in America, we're so like, half the country went this way, half the country went that way. So if I sat on my Facebook page and spewed a bunch of anti-vaccine whatever, I would probably gain 40, 30, 20 million followers.
Yeah.
But I can't think about that. I don't want to think about that. I'm too old to think about that. I'm 60 years old.
Yeah.
What you see is what you get. And I just want to do it legitimately. I just want to be my own guy, do my thing, and just be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can
I mean,
imagine. It's interesting because listening to the sound, listening to your single "Cosi Bella" today, and now talking to you, and I think back to the Motley record. Excuse the Motley question and the
oh, no worries.
reference, but I remember. I think there was a song called "Misunderstood,"
Yeah.
uh, right? So was that kind of what you brought to the band? The
No, it's,
experimenting and all of that.
um, no, I can't say that. I know a lot of fans try to put it into that category,
Mm-hmm.
but to with you, that was four guys that were all on the same page together.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And or it's another funny thing to me is a lot of fans have said, "Well, this wasn't what I would have expected from you." But if you really go back and look at my uh, career, I think Misunderstood was heavily influenced by the Beatles.
Exactly. Yeah.
And if you listen, there was another album that we did around the same time called Quaternary. And I had a solo song on there called Friends. And if you listen to that, you can't get any more Beatles than that was. And then some like three or four of the Union songs had heavy Beatles influences in them. And that's the thing that puzzles me. I just sit there and I go, wait, well, okay, yeah, maybe this song is a little out of my wheelhouse, but not totally. If you really go back and look at my stuff,
Mm-hmm.
um, but I just think the Motley stuff that we did, it was really four guys in a room having fun. They were excited again. I was excited to be there. And we were just, you know, on a daily basis, we were talking about all the bands that we grew up listening to, the bands like Zeppelin, Sabbath, uh, the Beatles,
Yep.
the Stones, and we were just throwing all these things into the pot and making the best of it. So
Yeah.
um, it was just really four guys at the same time. The universe, all the stars lined up, and it was four guys all clicking and just writing the best music that they could.
Yeah. For me, one of the best Motley records. I'm sure a lot of people will
I
agree with me. Love it. But are you planning to go back out on the road anytime now, John? Any tours, any shows planned?
well, from your mouth to God's ears, I would love to uh, get out and start playing it. I was supposed to do some shows about 3 weeks ago, a month ago, and I had 5 shows or 7 shows in Mexico, and 5 of the 7 cities went into lockdown again.
Yeah.
So I don't know how this is going to play out. I don't know if I'm going to have to wait until next year again or what, but we'll see. I would love, as far as getting out and playing with a band. My son is totally itching to get out and play again. My bass player. Um, so what I think I'm going to do is maybe try between now and the end of the year, release 3 or 4 songs with videos, and then get everybody together, start rehearsing, and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully go out and do a full proper um, shows with the full band and go out and have some fun.
Yeah.
And
Because
hopefully
go.
we can get over to India.
Yeah, that'll be fantastic because also this whole vaccination debate has really, I think, divided concert promoters and organizers, right? Whether you should insist that people who come to your shows be vaccinated or not. Where do you stand on that?
Again, I don't want to. I don't like. It's funny because I have a bunch of friends here. Now, me personally, I went and was vaccinated. I want to just get back to normal.
Yeah.
Uh, and I have friends that are not going to do it. They refuse to do it. My thing is, you have the right to say, like, if you choose to not get it, then great. And if you choose to get it, great. There's consequences either way.
Yeah.
And my thing is, if you choose to not get the vaccine and you choose to not wear a mask and you choose to do these things, then be prepared for the airline to tell you, I'm sorry, sir, you cannot come on our plane.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is your choice. This is the consequence. There's consequences with everything. If you cheat on your wife, then you're going to live with a miserable woman for the rest of your life. There's consequences, and I don't understand. People don't get it, and so I'm not really into telling somebody what they should or shouldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the people that, and it's been really prevalent here in America. Like, I mean, I just read a story not that long ago about a airline flight attendant woman that had her teeth knocked out because she was telling a passenger who had maybe a little too much to drink that he had to wear a mask. And that's the part that I think is disrespectful. You're choosing to not wear a mask, great. But it clearly says when you buy the ticket, you have to wear a mask or you have to comply. And it's the people saying, I don't want to wear the mask and I'm not going to take the vaccine. And, F you, I'm just going to do what I want. And no, man, there's a consequence. This is your choice.
Yeah.
Now here is your consequence. Deal with it.
Yeah.
So I don't care. Again, do what you want to do, but don't argue when the consequences bite you in the ass.
Yeah. Because I saw an Eric Clapton interview where he said that he wouldn't play a venue or a show if the promoter insisted that people be vaccinated because it was discriminatory.
Yeah, well, but that's the promoter's choice.
Absolutely.
He's the promoter. He owns that business. And if you don't like it, then don't play for that promoter.
Yeah.
That's you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know why everybody's making a big deal out of it. Again, if you rob a bank, you're going to go to jail.
Yeah.
That was your choice. You chose to rob the bank. So then, and that's the part that amazes me, is that people don't want to deal with the consequences. Now, who knows? I took the vaccine. 10 years from now, I could have a penis growing out of my forehead like a unicorn. But that was my choice. That's my consequence.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, whatever. Who knows?
Absolutely. But tell me, John, you self-released this song, Cosi Bella. I saw it said King Crab Entertainment. That's your own label, right?
Loosely, yes.
Yeah. But how relevant do you think the concept of a record label is today, John? Given that all these platforms of scale already exist, right? And you've been experimenting with it. Would you go back and work with a label?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. Well, I was already on a label, and I kind of left to do it this way. The problem of it is that, and I think it's really been prevalent. Again, I remember I said the 15 years of music. As soon as these bands like Def Leppard and Motley Crüe and Ozzy Osbourne and John Bon Jovi, they all started selling multiple millions of records. I think the record companies kind of got a little lazy. They didn't develop bands the way they used to do in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
There is no development. It's everything's a quick payoff. You do a record, if it doesn't go platinum, next, let's find the, you know what I mean? So to a degree, the record companies are reaping what they've sowed for the last 10 or 15 or 20 years since 1980. And, you know, so I don't know unless somebody said to me, you know what, John, I really believe in you. I believe that you're a talented singer and songwriter, and I just want to help develop you, regardless of whatever. We're gonna put our machine behind you because we believe in you. You know, what's the point? If they're, you know, I'd rather do this on my own than be involved with a label or somebody that, you know, if they don't believe in me, then I don't want to be here. You know, if you're thinking that Cosi Bella is just going to go out there and sell 1 million copies and we're all going to make a ton of money, then, you know, F off. I don't care. Like, whatever. I'd rather do this on my own and just build this thing. And like I said, hopefully, you know, and even with a record label, there's one ingredient in success that nobody wants to talk about. And I think it's the main ingredient. And it's luck. Like, the stars truly have to line up and everything has to be working in complete synchronicity for you to have a successful song on the radio. It's luck. And, you know, so I'm totally fine doing it the way that I'm doing it. It's okay. You know what I mean? This is what my book is about. It's called Horseshoes And Hand Grenades.
Yeah. Is it out yet? Or it was supposed to come out a couple of months ago, right?
No.
Or next year.
It's going to be April 12th, I think. They may take pre-orders at the end of this year, but it's really, truly about a guy that has spent his entire life being close. Horseshoes and hand grenades, you don't have to be on the money. You just have to be close. And I think my whole career's been that thing. And I'm still trying to figure out how to align all the stars and have everything work in synchronicity for me. But when I was younger, I used to freak out about this stuff. Like, you know, oh my God, I'm 25 years old. Eddie Van Halen got a record deal when he was 20. And Robert Plant was only 19 when he sang on the first record. And, you know, and it used to drive me crazy. Why am I not like that guy or like that guy or like that guy? And it's like, once you know, not to sound weird, but it was like after getting out of Motley, I had a very, very valuable life lesson. And I just went, you know what? Do the best that you can, work as hard as you can, and just keep plowing forward and just be at peace with, you know, the universe. It's not to sound weird, but so.
No, I get that. I get what you're saying. Was that when you moved to Nashville, you know, after Motley?
I moved to Nashville in 2006. So there was about 10 years I aimlessly wandered around LA. I played guitar with Ratt for a while and, you know, just trying to figure everything out and sort through everything and just have maybe a little bit of clarity on, you know, how does this work? Or do I need to reinvent myself? Or do I just, you know, and the more I thought about it, I'm like, no, I can't go out and do, like I said earlier, if I wanted to be relevant, I could do a rap album or a country record, or, you know, cut all my hair off and put a nice suit jacket on and try and sing like Justin Timberlake. But that's not me. And I think the audience would see through the bullshit.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm just at peace with the fact that, you know what, I am who I am, and I'm a jeans and t-shirt guy, and I'm gonna, if you ask me a question, be prepared for the answer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's, it is what it is.
What's it like in Nashville, though? I've read so much about the music community in Nashville and how it's built on peer support and all of that. Can you talk a little bit about that aspect of Nashville?
Nashville is just a very, when I first came here, there were some unbelievable songwriters,
Yeah,
um,
I can imagine.
and great studios and great, they call them session players, like guitar players that are just so well rounded and can play anything. Um, and but the thing that I liked about Nashville after being born in Philadelphia, which is a very big city, and then going from Philadelphia to LA, which is an even bigger city, and dealing with for a lack of a better term, a huge percentage of fake people. I came to Nashville and I was just kind of blown away at how social people were here.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be unusual at the end of the day of writing music. I'd go sit in a bar to grab something to eat and have a drink. And somebody would sit down next to me and they would go, "Oh, you a musician?" "Yes." And then we just start talking. And by the end of the conversation, you're like, "Oh man, hey, here's my number. What's your number?" And it was different. I was like, "Oh wow, it's crazy." I met my wife here. The cost of living was much cheaper than LA and Philadelphia as well.
Mm-hmm.
And but I just remember that is it an African proverb? It takes a village to raise a child. It was just the social behavior of everybody. So a lot of these songwriters, they say it's it's like a little bit of a clique. But here, what they do is you get together to write a song with them and they go, "You know what? Let's go have a beer first." And then they sit down and they kind of size you up. They want to know if you're the type of guy that's going to sit in the room and write the song with them and then cut them out of the songwriting credits.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So but I like that. I have nothing to hide.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, let's go get a beer. Let's go get a whiskey and talk. I'll tell you about my family. You tell me about yours, and then you decide on whether or not you want to write with me.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. So, and I get it, but I just fell in love with the city. Now, to be honest with you, it's 2021. I've been here for 15 years, and unfortunately, Nashville is growing at such a rapid rate that it's becoming not attractive to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how long I'll be here. I might start looking for the next place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, because I've read so much about the studios and legendary recording studios and Music Row and all of that. And
Yeah,
has
beautiful.
someone even called it the Silicon Valley of the music business? Uh, you know,
Yes, and
I was.
it's like I said. It's here. Look, I don't know if you can see this. It's just trees,
Mm-hmm.
and here's I'll take you out here. I don't know if you can see it or not. This has been my view for the last few days. Can you see the lake?
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is a water park. It's just like an RV place. People come here and
Mm-hmm.
hang out. They get a little nature, and so I like it. But unfortunately it's turning into a bigger metropolis like Atlanta or New
Yeah.
York, or it's growing so fast it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I can imagine. John, last question before I let you go. A little bit about the book. When does the book come out, and how easy was it for you to write the book? Being a musician, does that make it easier to write a book?
No, to be honest with you, like I had never done it before.
Mm-hmm.
Um, to be honest with you, I didn't even really want to do it. a friend of mine, Paul Miles, from Australia, he's got a website called Chronological Crue. And I was in Australia. I did some shows, and Paul tagged along for the four or five shows I did. And you know, at night we would sit down, my whole band and I, and even some of the guys in my band, they would ask me questions about, you know, Mick Mars or Tommy Lee, or they'd ask me about the Dead Daisies and all this stuff. So I was telling them stories, and Paul was the one who said, you should do a book. And at first I said, no, I don't, you know, everybody's doing a book now.
Yeah.
Everybody. I said, and I was joking because I said, I even went to a KISS convention, and there was like 2 or 3 roadies from KISS's touring days in the 70s that wrote a book. And I go, man, it's like Crue guys are writing books now. And I just felt like I'd be jumping on a bandwagon. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
But Paul said, as a Crue fan, he said, you know what, Crab, you did a few chapters in the dirt, but you're still kind of a mystery to a lot of people. They don't really know you like they know Vince or Tommy or Nicky or Mick. And so after a bit of persuasion, I caved, and I said, okay. So Paul would interview me and ask me questions, and then he typed it up into a book form and sent it to me. Then I dissected it and went through it, made some changes, edited, boom, sent it back. And we did this 4 or 5 times till we got it to a point where we felt it was a smooth read. And then we shopped it. And this company in Los Angeles, they're called Rare Bird.
Yeah, I know of them. Yeah.
Yeah, they were like, oh, this is great. So we did the book. Went through the editing process, and then now we're just gathering some photos and different things like this. And then I just flew out to LA. Let me see. Today's Tuesday. I think I just got home Thursday or Friday, and I did the audiobook. And so I can't really say that I'm an author, because I would say in all actuality, Paul probably wrote most of the book, but these are my words, my stories, and then he would give them, and I would just kind of make it more me. Do I want to do it again? Probably not. I'm way more comfortable with a guitar and a melody than I am with a typewriter or a computer and a Word document.
Yeah, no, I've always wondered, right? Because there's so many musicians that write books. I mean, is it like it's a step away from, you know, from being a musician and writing songs to, you know, writing stories and memoirs and stuff like that?
Yeah, and again, you know, there's still part of me, I'm like, does anybody even really care? Like, you know, like, I don't know. I was a little apprehensive about doing it at first, but even when I was doing the audiobook, I was saying to the, you know, president of the publishing company, I'm sitting there going, okay, you've done books before. I said, my story is not like those VH1 behind the scenes thing where it's like, you know, band gets a record deal, they become huge, they become drug addicts, they split up, you know, and they all go. I said, that's not my story. And he was like, no. He goes, these stories that you put in are awesome. And it just shows all of the hardships I went through. And to be honest with you, here I am at 62, you know, 35 years into the music business, still trying to figure out how to make everything work in synchronicity so I can take the next step of you know, fame, fortune, notoriety, whatever. so he goes, I just love the stories, man. They're real, they're honest, and they're just like this. It's a story of perseverance and being close and being like, what did I say? Always at the right place,
Yeah.
but at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Story.
But tell me, John, have you read? Nikki's got a new book out.
Yes, I'm actually, you know, obviously I contributed to the dirt and I read it, and I read Nikki's book, The Heroin Daughter, and Nikki's actually good at it.
Yeah.
He's good with words. So I'm very curious to see what his new book is like, and you know, see what kind of an upbringing Nikki really came from. You know, so I'm curious. I wish him the best of luck with it.
Yeah.
You know,
Are you in touch with any of them, John?
Tommy and Mick.
Mm-hmm.
But even with Vince, I do see Vince on occasion, you know, at an event or a function, and Vince has always been very cool to me. He's been nice and you know, get along great. I don't know
Yeah.
why, and I don't want to keep rehashing this because every time I rehash it, you know, these wet web zines or whatever, they take it and they twist everything around.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the end of the day, uh, at the end of the day, Nikki has some sort of an issue with me, and I don't know why, but that's okay. I
Yeah.
don't really either way.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I saw Vince and his band. I shot them in France, I think France or Germany. It was in 2019, just before the lockdown. I saw Vince and his. Yeah, he has a solo band.
So where in India are you now?
I'm in the southern part of India, in a city called Chennai.
Okay.
Uh,
So how long is it? How long of a flight is it for you to go from where you're at to France?
okay, so I have to jump through hoops, man. Um, it takes me from here. We don't have a direct flight to Paris, or till this year we didn't. So it takes me about 13 hours to get there.
Wow. Yeah, it was weird when I came to India.
Hmm.
I left. Uh, I left Nashville, and I had Nashville to Dallas, Dallas to LA.
Hmm.
Then I met the rest of the guys in LA, and we went. I don't know how. We went LA to Moscow.
Wow.
Go figure. Moscow to uh, I think it was New Delhi.
Yeah,
Wait,
probably Delhi or Bombay.
Delhi,
Yeah.
and then Delhi. It was the longest flight ever. We went Delhi, then to I believe Calcutta,
Yeah.
and then
Wow.
Calcutta, and then they came and picked us up in the car and uh, drove us like 3 hours through the. I mean, it was crazy. It took us. It literally took me like 40 plus hours to get to where we were going. I was so tired. I left this really awesome jacket. I had a denim jacket with
Hmm.
like leather stingray, and I was tired. I was just past like I think in Calcutta or Delhi, and I'm sitting there laying in a chair and I fell asleep.
Hmm.
And I can't remember if I took the jacket off and laid it on the chair, and then they called us for a flight, and I got up and walked away and left this jacket there.
Oh
And I'm
no.
so yeah, I was so pissed. But God, what a flight! I could not believe from the time I left my house in Nashville to the time we arrived at this place in, I believe it was Nagaland,
Yeah.
Dimapur.
Yeah, Dimapur. Yeah. Yeah.
Dimapur. By the time we arrived there, I'd been traveling like 55 hours.
Yeah, that's nuts. I don't know why you guys went to Moscow, but there's lots of flights to the U.S. from all our cities. So
Yeah, well, again, a promoter bought the tickets, so
he
they were
must
just trying to save a buck.
he must have got a cheap fare and
They
sent you
well,
guys halfway around
they
the world.
probably would have gotten an even cheaper fare if they just sent it like through FedEx. It was crazy.
Yeah, but was it just that one show that you played in India?
We did two.
Oh, you did too?
We played in Dimapur. Am I saying that right?
Yeah,
Dimapur.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. Yeah,
And then the next town was called Shillong.
yeah, correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like
And it was great.
the heavy metal capital of India.
Shillong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was crazy. We it was this giant open field, and I was, again, I'm sitting there, I'm looking at the stage, and the entire stage was made of like wood, bamboo, and I'm going, what? This is crazy. It was funny. Well, I had such a great time though, and we had some great stories from being in India. It was fun, and I'd like to do it again. But
Yeah.
I think I would rather play in like Delhi, like some of the larger cities. Man, we were out like, I don't know. It was funny.
Thank you, John. Thank you so much for your time.
Awesome, buddy. Thank you.